Hi everyone, welcome to Digging Cincinnati History's first how-to video. I'm hoping to do a series of these so that you can follow along how I research the history of buildings and general history of Cincinnati. My first question comes from one of my Facebook followers named Cheryl. She actually asked a question not about the house that she lives in, but about how to find out if a building one of her ancestors lived in is still existing today and how to find out where it was located. Just so you know, Cincinnati went through a street renumbering between 1895 and 1896. This changed the dividing line of downtown Cincinnati from Main Street to Vine Street. And so all the streets were renumbered, all the buildings were renumbered, and that's the east and west dividing line became Vine Street, and street numbers began to be numbered, house numbers began to be numbered by block instead of a consistent numbering from one on over. So let me show you a little bit how we can figure this out. Today I'm using the Sanborn Historic Maps that are available from the Ohio Link Digital Resource Commons. And these maps are a treasure trove of information for us. They do cover the state of Ohio, so we'll be a little specific on how we research here. The maps for the Cincinnati area cover between 1887 to 1950 with some gaps in there. So let's do a little bit of searching here to find out how we can find where Cheryl's ancestors lived. So I'm going to scroll down here to the bottom of the page to find the search box. So I want to search within the Sanborn collection, and so I'm going to use this box here at the bottom. I'm going to put in Dayton, and then I'm going to put in Cincinnati, and I'm going to look at the 1891 map because I think that would be a pretty good match to try and find where her ancestors lived. So I'm just going to press my enter button to go, or you can click on the go button. And Cheryl shared with me that her ancestor lived at 286 Dayton Street, a range of street numbers that map covered. So for example, this one covers Dayton Street from 73 to 186. Well, that's not quite what we're looking for. We're looking for 286. So we're going to scroll down here until we can find where Dayton Street matches the number of 286. Looks like we're getting a little closer. You have to read very carefully to make sure that you're looking for all the information. Okay, here we have a match. Here's Dayton Street between 253 and 344. Looks like we're near the intersection of Bank and McLean and Western Avenue. Map and see what information we can find. I'm going to scroll down here. These maps are very handy. There are lots of controls here so that you can zoom in and zoom out. You can just click on it as well to zoom in. Here I'm looking at Dayton Street in Western Avenue, and it's not very clear, but I believe this is Dayton Street that kind of took a little jog here and went over. Let's look at this part of Dayton Street. If we zoom in nice and close, you can see that there's street numbers right here in front of the building. So here is 260, but we're looking for 286. So I'm going to zoom back out here. Excuse me. And I'm going to drag over here to this other part of Dayton Street where we're crossing some avenue. Doesn't say here on this side. Looks like there's an ice house here. Here we have 277, and this one looks like it's 282, but she mentioned it was 286, so I'm not seeing that exact street number on here. The street numbers would have continued across the street, so 286 could be here at this building, which is kind of hard to read. We'll look and see if we can find it on the next map. But I'm not seeing a 286 show up on this map, but it would have been in this vicinity. It looks like a building could have been built here and perhaps was torn down. It would have been a very skinny building, but it would have been here. But that would have been 284 because the buildings were just consistently numbered across the block. Same as today, the even house numbers were on the north side of the street and the odd numbers were on the south side of the street. So I'm just going to go back a page and see if we can find another map. So here's the map we were at where it covered our street number for Dayton. here we're going to look at this map and see if we can find out any more information. So I'm just going to scroll down here, and here, up here it says Dayton Street where it took that little jog. This avenue is McLean Avenue. Looks like there's some railroad tracks on McLean Avenue. Could have been a streetcar. Let's see here. So here's that building that was 282. It's hard to read now that it's kind of bent on this scan of the map. So this could have been 286 at this corner. Again, we're looking at 1891, and her ancestor lived in this building in 1875. So we are quite a bit of a gap away from when her ancestor lived there. It looks like at this time it is the John Thalman Company, and they are stair builders. So at least she has an idea now of where that building could have been that her ancestor lived in. Now, how do we find out where that street is today? Well, I take the information we have here. We know we're in the area of McLean, Dayton Street, Western Avenue. It's also good to look for any other street names that we could maybe line up with today. Here we have Exeter. Let's see if there's anything else that we can use as clues to find. Here's Bank Street. We know Bank Street still exists today, so we're kind of looking in the area of Bank and Dayton and McLean. So with that information, I'm going to open a new tab here. I'm using Google Chrome as my browser, but you can use whatever is best for you. I'm going to go to the CAGIS Maps by the Hamilton County. Now, CAGIS stands for the Cincinnati Area Geographical Information Systems. And this map is provided by the county, and it is a great resource. As you can see the whole county here, and all of the highways and the streets and the neighborhoods. And this map you can just click on to zoom in. Now, I know from my research that Dayton Street and Bank Street are all in the West End. So I'm going to look in this area here. We can see Bank Street already. Let's see. Let's keep zooming in here. This should be Dayton Street right here. Let's see if we can find McLean. I'm not sure that that street still exists today. So we might have to be doing a little poking around to see if we can find where her ancestor lived. Now this is kind of the hard part, where our streets aren't exactly the same anymore. Western Avenue doesn't really exist on here because we have the highways that now come through. So this makes it a little more difficult. Here's Western Avenue and Bank Street. So it looks like as of today, her ancestor's building is no longer standing. We are right here at Bank Street near 75. Here's Western Avenue in the Queensgate area. And if we go here, we can go to an aerial map and kind of get an idea of where we're at today. Let's see here. So we're north of Union Terminal. Union Terminal's all the way down here. So we're a little bit up here, almost into Camp Washington area. So unfortunately, her ancestor's building is no longer standing today, and actually you will find that's very common in the downtown area and in the West End. My ancestors as well lived in that area, and those no longer exist because of when the highway came through, so much of that was taken. So here we go. Here you can see where Western Avenue used to come down through here, and now that's all part of I-75. So I'm on the property tab. This is very useful to see where the old streets went, because sometimes the remnants are still kept within the property maps, which are based on the recorder's records, and so that kind of helps us get a better visual. So Dayton Street would have come over here. Here you can see where it would have jogged up here. Oh, here we go. And so here's that little cut where Dayton Street would have come up here. Here's Bank Street as it comes across. So her ancestor's home would have been right in this area where my little hand cursor is. So unfortunately, it's no longer standing today, but now she at least has an idea where this building was. So I hope you enjoyed this video today. I'm hoping to make more for you over topics that I cover in my book, which is available on Amazon, and it's also available at the public library. It is called Finding Your Home's Ancestors. I will put a link for that as well in the description, and I will put links for the two websites that I used today to show you where we went. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please feel free to like, subscribe, and comment with any suggestions, and I will be glad to help you search your journey on finding your home's ancestors. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.